for 7 years before they were caught. It says, so unprofessional, bye bye. Another one that says, this is absolutely disgusting. She needs to be off.
Looks like we got us another hit.
That bench immediately. What a terrible story.
Place.
Yeah. So and for regular folks, they would have got rid of the bail option and been like, this guy has shown that he, don't want to follow the rules, don't want to show up, and we're going to lock him up to make sure he's there for.
Well, the president is his father. Taking his passport away is no guarantee that he can't leave the country. I mean, we want to really play by the way the law would do it. He would have to be restricted from any kind of military base, any kind of international transportation place, or anything like that, because flat out, he is a flight risk.
Let me play a little bit more of this so he can finish his point on this right here.
Yeah. Someone at the Aspen Institute suggested that maybe it would happen, and if it did, that would be Russian disinformation. So when it did, all the news agencies already were primed to believe that it was Russian disinformation. And so when a whole bunch of CIA operatives published this letter that claimed it was probably Russian disinformation, all these news agencies were already ready to accept that that was the truth. Because this institute called the Aspen Institute, that's funded by all the gigantic billionaire philanthropy foundation, and has literally been asking the CIA to be its buddy since the very first year it was founded, and to this day invites the director of the CIA every single year to give talks. That institute primed them to believe that it would be Russian disinformation. But it was very real. And you can go and look at it all for yourself if you want. I obviously can't show the pictures because this video is going to be on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. If you just go to bidenlaptopmedia.com, it's all there. And it is censored. It's got coloring out of anything censored, but you can clearly see what's going on. For Twitter, I'm going to briefly go over some of it now, and that part will be cut for the other platforms. So let's rewind for everyone to just quickly remember what's going on here. We have a president who was elected under circumstances that involved the CIA doing things. And then during his presidency, we have 2 wars going on. In part 2, we'll go over how the CIA probably didn't have anything to do with starting the Ukraine war. And the other war is wildly unpopular because we are literally funding a foreign country bombing civilians and children. And I know that most of you on the left are opposed to the war in Israel, and you can probably use your brain to kind of make the connections between the CIA and Mossad and the aligned interests in those deep government groups. So you have a president that was elected with help from the CIA, who now has 2 wars going on that the CIA is really big on, along with Lord knows what else in the shadows. I might mention that all of these CIA names that signed that letter, they have one thing in common. None of them were ever elected. You have never voted for any of these people. And yet they have worked in government, in Central Intelligence Agency for years, decades, some of them. When conspiracy theorists talk about the deep state, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about intelligence agencies aligned with military-industrial complex interests, aligned with media organizations that we know the CIA has been influencing, buying off, and subverting for decades. All just pushing little bits of influence here and little bits of reporting there and covering things up there and flailing and flaming about things there to slowly push an agenda that is a little bit more enriching for them and a little bit more destructive for the whole rest of the world. So all y'all that voted for Biden last time, you really got to do some soul searching and think about who the hell are you going to vote for this time? Because burying your head in the sand is not helping. You want to know how the CIA steals elections? Part 1.
So I think that the main point of this is understanding that coming from the right, those guys sound really silly when they say the president isn't the president, like Biden isn't the legitimate president, or he's not really running the country or whatever, like the stuff that they were saying. And the way that the clips show these people saying that, they sound silly and uninformed. But there's actually some truth to that, what they're saying. And from this clip here, we understand that it's like the CIA folks that's really kind of running the show. and these people are not elected. These people, and they don't have any constituents. They don't have anybody to like answer to, if you will. So like, he's talking about how the CIA had the influence over helping Biden getting elected, related to these way that they cover these media stories and this disinformation campaigns of making people think that certain things was Russian collusion or Russian propaganda or whatever, and that stuff had a really strong impact on the American people's thoughts of the situation, and it led them to come to certain conclusions that they knew that's what was going to happen. Like that was the whole plan. So, and then as far as like how much power Biden really has is a question when you have these folks who can manipulate the situation, to benefit the interest that they have. You know what I'm saying? So I've said before that I feel like Trump is a tool. He's been used by certain groups to get things done that they've been trying to get done for a long time. And Trump is their man, and he's getting those things done and has been getting those things done that they've been trying to do for the longest. It just so happened that the stars aligned and Trump was the guy. So, but the same thing is true for Biden. Biden is a tool also for powers that be that want to get certain things done, and they using him to get those things done. I mean, as simple as that. How much Trump is aware of being used as a tool is a question. But as far as on the Biden side, he's been in politics forever. So I'm sure he understands that he's beholden to these certain groups or whatever. So when you talk about the deep state, and you're saying that Trump is against the deep state, I think there's elements within the deep state that feel like they can't use Trump for what they want to use. But you have a whole nother group of people or corporations or organizations that have their own agenda, and they can use Trump to get those things done, if that makes any sense. So you have people who are behind the scenes, who aren't elected, who have agendas that they are trying to accomplish, and they use whatever tools that they have, at their disposal to get those things done. So whether it's Trump or Biden, that's, whichever one can get the job done is the one that they want to go for. So the deep state versus the deep state, if you will, because when people say the deep state, though, generally we're talking about CIA, we're talking about military industrial complex, we're talking about, let's say Halliburton, Boeing, and so forth and so on. But on the other side, you have other groups who are just as powerful, maybe, as those groups, and they have their agendas too. And it mostly on the other side, it has to do with like cultural type of deals that they have, that they feel strongly about, agendas that they want to get done, So that's where it is. That's the war that's happening. This guy here did another story that had my attention, related to how you have these CIA agents who are on the boards of these corporations. And it's like, why would you want a CIA on the board of a corporation? Like, what is that going on there? So, but then the connection related to fifth generational warfare comes in, where, war isn't fought with traditional weapons nowadays. It, influence, hacking, like, let's say policies or whatever, like, one of the things I like to say all the time is that, systems manage people and people manage systems. So you want to get people to do certain things, micromanaging them can only get you so far, but you develop systems that incentivize people to behave in a certain way, and you tweak that system. You see how the outcomes come, what are the effects of it, and then you tweak on that system to get the desired outcomes that you're looking for. So then that's what's happening here, is the powers that be, you know, tweaking the system to get the desired impact on the American people, if that makes any sense. Let's read some comments. It says, Julie Stump, she says, who isn't corrupt? Surely you don't suggest that we vote for Trump. So she's given a pass for Biden as far as, you know, she's like, who isn't corrupt? So like, they're all corrupt. So like, you know, still, we should still vote for this corrupt guy, because otherwise we're going to vote for Trump. Like, and that's like the freaking argument of the whole Democratic, you know, that's their whole platform. Like, they don't even have any policies really, hardly, that people really want to vote for, or that they stand on. They got this incrementalism shit where they pretend to get stuff done or whatever and say that my hands are tied and it was the Republicans, that's why we couldn't get stuff done or whatever going on. And that's their, you know, so they're like, at least we're not Trump. So, you know, you have to vote for us, or otherwise you're going to get Trump. It's like, they're all corrupt. So if they're all corrupt, let's do something about the corruption. Instead of talking about, you know, we don't, surely we're not going to vote for Trump. You know, they're all corrupt, but surely we're not going to vote for Trump. Well, can we look at some of the corruption stuff? Can we deal with that? You know, regardless if it's Trump or Biden, regardless if it's a R or a D next to their name, let's deal with the corruption, because at the end of the day, the American people still are the losers as a result of these people doing shady things to benefit themselves. Another comment says, the only thing worse than reelecting Biden would be reelecting Trump. There goes another one of the same, that's basically the same thing that this previous comment was saying, or the same sentiment, basically. You know, the corruption is there, whatever, but it's we got to pick the lesser of two evils. So, you know, she's saying it's a bad thing to reelect Biden, but it's a really bad thing to reelect Trump. So, man, the lesser of two evils is still evil. There goes the illusion of choice. Another comment that says, hope you are posting this stuff to X too. It needs to be, if not, Elon may highlight it too, which would be powerful. Another one that says, bro, since 2016 and before, as cybersecurity person, the intelligence community has long been manipulating what is released in the media. The issue is your presentation is benign compared to what 45 did with colluding with Russia agents. Great job, but pivot back to the insurrectionists. This is benign. I don't think it's benign, really. I mean, we're pointing to corruption and shadiness. He showed the money's coming directly from Russia, directly from other countries. Like, that makes you wonder, what are they aligned with? Are they really looking out for the American people when they're collecting money from these foreign countries? Like, you know, how much influence does that money have on the decisions that these people make while they're in office? Are they making decisions to benefit the American people, or are they making decisions to benefit these people who sending them checks that's from another country? I don't think that's benign. Another comment, it says, FYI, the left hates Biden more than the right does, LOL. I don't know. There might be some truth to that. It's like they hold their nose and vote for Biden. You know what I mean? Yeah. Another comment says, honest, real information. Thank you. We of the right, left, and middle don't need to argue about, but join together with tyrants are out. Ugh. We of the right, left, and middle don't need to argue, but join together when tyrants are at our front door. What they do to you, they will do to us tomorrow. We need to stick together. Yeah. Yep. Don't let them come for no one. They come for your neighbor. They're coming for you next. So stand with your neighbor. That's where your power comes from. Don't let them keep selling that individualism stuff. That's how we end up with the evil that we have running everything, because each one of us is just like, well, they're not messing with me, so I know it's wrong or whatever, but I just want to go to work and pay my bills and look out for my kids, which I sympathize with. But at some point, they're coming for you and your kids. Another comment says, cover the connection between the Rothschilds and Israel. Another one that says, bro, pro-Biden people are not on the left. Pro-Biden people are not on the left. I don't think we have much of a left in this country. I've been saying that for the longest. I mean, Biden is centrist at best. I would not put Biden on the left. I can't put Biden on the left. I really can't. Another comment says, taught to hate one side or the other, real growth is learning to loathe all sides equally. Hate, 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 hate. I hate everyone, so I ain't racist. I hate all of y'all. Another comment says, the DNC is the establishment party. That is true. That is actually true. That is so true. Another comment says, Putin interviews showed that Putin is fully aware that the CIA blew up that pipeline, aware of the plan, and yet he hasn't retaliated. What would be his retaliation, you know? I mean, you got BRICS growing like crazy, you know. Trade is improving between the BRICS countries. They're talking about coming up with a currency that they'll be able to use in all of those countries. They're developing in Africa and, you know, other places. Like, I think that's the retaliation. What do you think he's supposed to do? Send a nuke to the United States or into the Pentagon or something because they blew up the pipeline? And really, I think they just hurt themselves because, like I say, Germany is hurting hardcore as a result of this, and other countries over there in Europe is hurting as a result of that pipeline getting blown up. So this thing is going to have negative repercussions on the United States.
A little hint. Take a look at how much oil and stuff like that we're selling over there right now.
Yeah, so that's what we wanted to do, but still, it doesn't matter. Those people are suffering. They're having to pay extra. That the oil that we sell in them has to be shipped, and that adds to that price. And you know, if I was in Germany, why would I pay this souped up ass price to get it from the United States when I can get it from somewhere else? And it's hurting my bottom line, and I can't take care of my people. Like, why would I do that? Like, at some point, I'm going to be like, you know what? I really just can't do this. I want to ride with y'all. I sympathize with you guys. But at some point, I have to make a decision for my household, and I can't spend this much money on this stuff. So I need to find somewhere else to get this stuff. So that's what's going to happen. And no matter what, like the price is going to have that extra price tag from it being shipped and the amount of time it takes for it to get there. All of those factors, like, yeah, the American benefited. That's the reason why they blew it up. I mean, but Europe is suffering. So they're supposed to be our allies. They're supposed to be our buddies. We're supposed to be working together. Oh, but you're going to price gouge me and screw over me and give me less options to be able to take care of my people? At some point, you know, those alliances will shift. Let me read some more. It says, as some who, as you say at the start of this video, has voted with you, the left, my entire life, how do you comprehend how the party who for decades was all about standing up against corruption has now become the party who not only turns a blind eye, but actively chastise those who point out corruption? When or what caused this shift? It is fascinating to me that I try and talk to people my parents' age about how the left has changed from when they were kids, and they refuse to acknowledge or see it whatsoever. They are entrenched in their respective camps. They are entrenched in their respective camps, but I wouldn't say that it has changed that much. You know, that was an illusion that the left, I can't call them the left, the Democrats were against corruption. Like, since when, bro? Where are you getting that information from? Like, no, they are pretend to be, but no. And what did he say? Standing up against corruption. Now they become the party who only turns a blind eye to actively chastise. No, man. Look at what they're doing to all the whistleblowers. They're like standing up to corruption. If they were standing up to corruption, then why are they doing what they're doing to Julian Assange right now? I covered a story about the guy who leaked the information to WikiLeaks, and they gave him 40 years in prison. Okay. So if these people are standing up to corruption, then why are they arresting the whistleblowers and destroying these people's lives and, suiciding them and putting them to jail forever? And this isn't really a new thing. I mean, this has been happening. I think that maybe with the way things are with the media and the information is harder to hide now, because you have so many cameras and you got the internet, and, it's harder to, they try to bury things. That's how they do it with the internet, because you can't get rid of that stuff. So you bury it in bigger stories, so, but it's easier, I think, now to see it, but it has been this way for a long time. It says the CIA is fundamentally treasonous institution from top to bottom. It needs to be broken into 10,000 pieces and scattered in the wind. Ooh, those are heavy words right there. I don't know if I would go as far as to say it's fundamentally treasonous from top to bottom, but broken into 10,000 pieces and scattered in the wind, I can go with that.
Well, okay. You do understand the limitations of the CIA technically, right?
That they're supposed to be only acting within the United States.
They're no. They are like the U.S. military. They have no authority inside the United States. Okay. They are not allowed to be activated within the United States. Yeah. That's why everyone's all send the army to the border. Send the army to the border. No. Send the army in those riots. And as much as I hated those riots, you notice I also stood there and said, do not send the military in.
You don't want
that is illegal.
Fighting against our people.
Our army is to defend our population. The National Guard protects the people. Yeah. That's a different organization. The army comes in. The army is trained to combat an enemy. The United States should never be.
Yeah. Just woke up. I ain't feeling your side.
Yeah. But this one, he's talking about Joe Biden, and